What if I told you that in your haunted attraction right now, you could have shorter wait times, a higher customer throughput, happier customers? You already know your nightly attendance before you open. You're going to earn more revenue in the season. You want to find out how to do this? Stick around.
Welcome to Haunt Topic Radio, the podcast for haunters by haunters. These are our scary visions.
In this episode, we get Alex on from hauntpay.com. Alex does ticketing solutions for the haunt industry. If you're looking for a ticketing place to get your tickets, to sell your tickets, either at the ticket booth or online, he does time ticketing and virtual queues. I've heard so many good things about HauntPay. Alex gets on to talk about his opinion and professional advice on using time ticketing and all the options that you have to market and sell to your customers. And then we also have Justin Hill on from Haunted Hill Haunted Attractions and from Haunted Hill Productions. If you're looking for some good props, masks, Justin has that stuff as well. He's also on YouTube. Go check out his YouTube stuff. I think it's under Haunted Hills. Make sure you also check out his website at hauntedhillsproductions.com. So Justin uses Virtual Queue Line and HauntPay at his attraction, and since he's switched things up, he's selling more to his customers. They're happier, they have more things to do, they're not waiting in a line. So listen for his perspective on using HauntPay and how you can control your queue line. Even if you're a home haunter, this could give you some ideas of controlling your lines outside. Because I know some ticketing companies do this. I'm not sure HauntPay is one of them, that if you're doing something for free that they don't charge you, something like that. So check your ticketing companies. If you're a home haunter, you can control your lines with using a virtual queue or time ticketing. You could do something within the neighborhood, send them a text alert. I went to pick up some Chinese food the other day out of a food truck, and they had a little beeper, a little buzzer. So things like that to let your crowd know that, hey, it's your turn. You're going to be next in line the next 10, 15 minutes. So just have a listen. Tell me what you think. All right, let's listen to it.
For haunters, and we power event ticketing and payments both online and at the door for over 1,000 haunted attractions every year. And millions of haunt fans, which is awesome. It's got that reach through the years. Yeah. And
Justin, what do you do? Tell us about your haunt, and about your business too.
Sure. So we do a little bit of everything. We've got the haunted house, which is now actually Scream Park, which is what we've developed in the last year was when we went from haunted house to Scream Park. And it's really a giant haunted house party that happens. It's kind of the only one I see that's like this, so we'll talk about that more later. But it's a huge mega haunt, just like any other one that you've seen around. We also do Haunted Hills Productions, where we produce costumes and masks and signage and props and lights and audio and everything you can imagine for haunted houses. We also do Haunt Pages, which is our online directory, and it's like the yellow pages for haunted houses. So what it is basically, I got tired of not being able to find really awesome vendors that had really awesome products. So I started making a database of those people. If you are a vendor of haunted house products or anything that can go into a haunted house, you should be on Haunt Pages. It's free. We just redid our whole website, worked with Chad Savage, so now it's also more user friendly. You can type in latex masks and it shows you every vendor that has told me they have latex masks, from us and from Alan Hops to the smallest guy that's making one style of masks in his basement.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's Haunt Page is awesome. But yeah, that's kind of everything we do, I think, right now.
That's all.
It's like a haunt encyclopedia. Hauntpedia.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Nice. So we're going to talk about queue lines. I know HauntPay is kind of specialized in doing ticketing, time ticketing,
Yeah.
virtual queue stuff. I know you work with escape room things,
Yeah. All of the above.
all
Yeah.
all that stuff. And I know Justin uses HauntPay to
Yes.
do
Yeah.
all of his. So we have kind of a thing going on here because we need Alex to make HauntPay and we need
Mhm.
Justin to use HauntPay. And I know there's a lot of haunted attractions out there that do use HauntPay because your name comes up all the time. So tell us about what HauntPay does in time ticketing and what things have you, I know you started because you've been in the industry for how many years?
Oh my gosh, since
Like
2013. So what is that?
2013, so
Almost
that's
10
10
years?
years. So
Yeah.
you've seen a lot of things progress from the very beginning to
Yeah.
now. What things have you helped create and kind of, as things have moved on and the trends have moved on, what kind of things have you seen and done with OnPay?
Yeah, man. It's a great question on that side of things, but I would say one of the first ones was one that you just mentioned, the time ticketing there. When we got into this, like I was looking around at like, whatever else was out there, Ticket Leap, Eventbrite, all this different stuff that was around way back then. There weren't a lot. There weren't a lot of options way back then, and there were even fewer options that let you do like, time slots every hour and repeat that, over a weekend and repeat that over 6 weeks and do that for a bundle of 3 attractions in the middle of a freaking cornfield. The haunters have some unique needs on that side of things, some unique requirements as far as like event ticketing and ticket sales goes. So that is actually one of the original reasons we got in. We thought that I grew up a haunter. So my dad's birthday is on Halloween. Every year we build a haunted yard. And then it became like a mega haunted yard. We had 1,500 people just on Halloween night. And it was crazy. I think one year we collected over 2,000 cans for the local food shelter. Like that was all, nonprofit. Then I got, worked for a local haunted house and then, kept going with this. I've been going to Transworld probably. Oh, I don't even want to know. I'm going to say, geez, probably over
Was
20
Chicago?
years at
No.
least.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, man. It's been a while. It's been a while in the Midwest. I think I was at one of the first, if not the first, Midwest haunters. Way back when it was with Barry and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, we saw that there were some features that were just left out that haunters needed, to be able to take advantage of. And time ticketing was one of the top ones. It just made sense for haunted houses, which would get like these crazy long lines at certain times of the night and nobody at other times of the night, and they're still paying actors that entire time. Like it just didn't make sense to not be able to spread that out at all and limit those. And I as just a haunted enthusiast, was frustrated spending, 3 or 4 hours in line at a really busy haunted attraction, that was under demand. So that's one of the first things we created way back then in 2013. And I think we were one of the first on the market with it, if not the first. I don't know if anybody else had a mini version of it, but we had one of the most successful versions. And I think it still works really well to this day. And the key there is like, if you're a haunted attraction and you want to be able to even out that crowd a little bit, you don't want those 3-hour lines. Time ticketing is the easiest way to just do that, right? Like you just set up multiple time slots. You can even make more inventory available early in the night or even change prices if you want. So it's lower cost if somebody goes at 7 o'clock versus 10 o'clock. You can do things like that. Or on a Thursday instead of a Saturday, right? Like you can change the pricing there or change the inventory that's available online. And yeah, people are always going to show up at the door, but that online habit, everybody's checking online first. Everybody has one of these bricks in their wallet with the screen on it in their pockets. And they're looking on that to see what's happening tonight and if they can get in and what the times are going to be and what the cost is going to be. So even if you're still doing ticket sales in person, by adjusting what's available by those time slots online, you're going to be able to manipulate a chunk of that crowd to go in the times you want them to be. So you can spread people out, you can shorten those lines over time, and it's going to make people happier in the long run. So I think that was one of the first things we dove into. And you're talking about things that, the industry changed. When we first started doing time ticketing, it was like 5% of the haunts we worked with, if even that, were open to doing time ticketing. Everybody was just doing either by the night or by the season, really, to start with, that they were doing their ticket sales. But now, today, like it's 80+% of haunted attractions that are doing time ticketing with us. It's amazing how that's flipped overnight.
I think ScareIt Badges are one of the smartest things I've seen in the industry in a really long time. ScareIt Badges are basically either pins or embroidered patches, kind of like merit badges, as they are, somewhat named after, from Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and Brownies, and where after you've accomplished something, you can wear the brag tag of the embroidered patch. Some haunts put them on jackets, some put them on t-shirts, some put them on with the pins. I've seen them put them on lanyards. But the neat thing about them is they are very specific in what they are rewarding, and they're haunt-based images that reflect what's being rewarded. It's retention, it is bringing people back, and it's actually giving your haunters, your haunt performers, the ability to share that they are haunt performers. And, oh really, you're a scare actor, where do you do that? And then they will insert the name of your haunt right there. So it's also marketing. I've always been a big fan of ScareIt Badges. I think they're great. So check them out, ScareItBadges.com. No, that is not a paid advertisement. That is just my recommendation. I think it's really cool.
ScottSwinson.com.
And another big thing that we've seen change through the years, like this one really started back in like 2020. Everybody was trying to figure out what to do with the pandemic stuff, whatever your thoughts on the pandemic are on that side of things. We knew that there were a lot of people out there that, didn't want to wait in line in the same ways. They weren't okay with being really tight, close up with people. And we had some really amazing, thoughts from our clients when we reached out to a bunch of them. And one of them was Haunted Hills. And they said, you got to get into this virtual queue stuff here. You got to get into this virtual queue stuff. And we'd been looking at it too, but they were honestly, Justin, you and Steph, you guys were the ones that pushed me over the edge on that to say, we're going to invest in that. I don't know if I've ever told you that, man. No. But you guys were the ones that really pushed us over the edge to say, yeah, we're going to build out this virtual queue stuff. We knew the concept and we were digging into it, but you guys pushed us over the edge there. And that has taken off like crazy. Again, we thought that this could have been a fad, and that's what we were worried about. We dumped a ton of money into building out virtual queues in 2020, and I'm happy to dig into what those are. But I thought, maybe come 2021, nobody's going to want to do virtual queues. Well, you know what? It's exactly the opposite. It's skyrocketed. There are haunts that had never even thought about time ticketing that are doing virtual queues because it makes more sense for them. And it's a better experience for everybody. So that's another really cool thing that we've seen change through the years here.
Mm-hmm. So what is a virtual queue?
Good question. A virtual queue is the ability to get a notification when it's your time for the group to go up and go in line instead of having to physically wait in line. So it's like virtually waiting in line, right? And to start with, back in the pandemic, one of the ways, one of the reasons this was popular, people would literally sit in their cars if they didn't want to be around a bunch of people. If they didn't want to be close to other people, they'd just sit in their car and they'd go in when it was their time, when they got the text message that it was their time. And that's how we do a virtual queue. We do it as a text message and an email message that goes out to the user. Hopefully they've got access to either one when it's their time to go in. They also have to check in when they get to the attraction, but they can do that remotely on their phone, or they can do it at the booth, if they want to go scan their ticket at the booth real quick. It's kind of up to the haunt what they want to require them to do, but then we'll give them a text message when it's their turn. But early on, it was people waiting in their cars. Now, I think one of the awesome things that happens there is a lot of people, instead of waiting in their cars, will wait in other parts of the attraction. And you know what the one time is that nobody's spending money at your attraction normally? It's when they're waiting in line, right? You might be able to entertain them, you might keep them going, but they're not spending much money unless you happen to have a soda machine they walk by periodically or something like that. So if they're waiting virtually and able to roam around your midway, roam around your attraction, you can find other ways to make money off of them, be it midway games or merch booths or, concession stands, all that sort of thing. So that's where I think virtual queues are really next level and can help you generate more revenue and keep your fans happier because they're having more memorable experiences the whole time that they can take home and post about. And you're never going to get that angry customer who's like, I had to wait in line 3 hours, because you didn't, you just got a text message when it was your turn.
Yep.
So Justin, how have you seen using virtual queue? Do you use a virtual queue and time ticketing at the same time, or?
We did 1 year. And so let me start by saying, okay, for one, I am not paid by Haunt Pay. I'm not whatever. But I'll say we have looked into other ticketing people like Fear Ticket, like Ticket Leap, like there's like another one called like Grunledge or some weird name like that. All these people, and we always come back to HauntPay because yes, the prices are fantastic. The all that's great. But one of my favorite things about HauntPay is the customer service. It's fantastic. Like he said, for one, when we have problems and it's Halloween and I call HauntPay, the card that Alex gave me with his number on it, I'm not going to like India to talk to someone that's been contracted by HauntPay. I'm talking to Alex on the phone to fix my problem, even though it's Halloween night, even though everyone else is busy as hell too. I'm talking to Alex and he's helping me through these issues in live time, and that's fantastic. On top of that, and I told you this earlier, HauntPay is the only company where literally I have come to them with ideas and I've seen those ideas implemented into what I'm using to make our experience and our customers' experience better. So I am an advocate of HauntPay all the way. So everyone else, like you hear from like Larry all the time, pitches Fear Ticket to everybody. Larry's not going to answer the phone when you have a problem. Alex will. So I'd go with HauntPay. But anyway, so 2020, we went with the time ticket and we went with the virtual queue. So we did the time ticket for when people show up on property. And this whole time, I was skeptical of time tickets. I will put this out there right away. I still do not like time tickets at all. I am adamantly against them. And just because I see how our haunt works and it just does not jive with how our haunt works. We don't have like a light switch. Things in our haunt go wrong, and that doesn't line up with what I promised people about going in the haunted house sometimes. So what we did, I guess, let me take you through a story. And that story starts in like 2019, pre-pandemic. So we have a haunted house. And for several years, we were doing what everyone did. We had giant queue line, huge block of space outside, people stand in that line, move at a snail's pace. We have a bunch of stages out there, actors, and people did love our line because we also love like rock and roll. We love rock shows, Rob Zombie. We go every chance that we can because seeing flame cannons and skeletons and stuff is really cool. So we implemented that into our show too. So when you're outside, you're seeing explosions and you're seeing fire dancers, and we've got sliders out there and people on stilts and everything that we can to create that event. We also we took the classes at Trans World. We followed the trends from the industry, and we started to do things like escape rooms and axe throwing. We had a midway, and like the craziest thing to me was that every single year we had to find new vendors in our midway. Like literally all of them would leave, and like we didn't have a problem bringing in new vendors, but like it kind of sucked. And it was like, no matter what, we thought like maybe they didn't like that kind of food. Maybe their prices were like bad. We even had like some people that brought in some trucks where they did like games from like a carnival. They didn't sell anything. They left too. And it was just not good at all. And we couldn't figure out like, why are people not spending money there? And then at the same time, why are we not like, people are claiming we're bringing in $30,000 off our 5-minute escape room. We're bringing in $50,000 off our axe throwing. And we're like, we're doing what you're saying, and it's just not lining up with what you're claiming. So it was like early 2019, we're trying to figure that out. I remember writing on a whiteboard, like all our problems. No money on escape rooms, no money on axe throwings, long waits. I also noticed that people are not taking as many pictures and posting them to social media as I'd like. Our vendors are always leaving. These are all problems we have. And I was like, I want to fix all of them, because that was like the first year we finally hit a point where I was like, the haunted house is really good. Let's work on experience things and these other problems. Also, like we weren't selling a lot of merchandise. We weren't seeing as many like fast passes and things that I would have liked. All that kind of stuff. So we started out from a place of let's address those problems. Then we start hearing about this. We hit 2020, pandemic hits. Haunted houses are closing. Haunted houses are not opening. And everyone's coming up with all these ideas. You have to have masks on. You have to clean hands. You have to social distance, all these things. And right away, we said, okay, well, the queue line's out because the queue was taking up half our parking lot. It's huge.
Man, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 200 feet by like 200 feet of just queue of just people stacked in a square doing nothing but just walking and cramming as many people in it as we can. And that's just the queue to get in the haunt, not the queue to go buy tickets either. So we came up with, let's do a time ticket to get in the property, and then we're going to do a virtual queue to get in the haunted house. So we also outside, we also do like, we wand everyone, because this was also around the time when we were seeing like shootings happening all the time. And I was like, I'm not going to be on the news for someone bringing a gun here and trying to shoot people. So we started to wand everybody, and it was crazy how much like stuff we found. But anyway, that's another story.
Do you know what causes haunted attractions to shut down before they even get started? The top 3 roadblocks are lack of funding, lack of leadership, lack of resources. As a member of the Haunters Toolbox, you get instant access to the tools you need to start and grow your own haunted attraction business. To get started, become a member at haunterstoolbox.com.
But so the virtual queue, we noticed right away that our shortcomings were making the virtual queue not happen, because people thought, when I tell you show up at 7 o'clock, they thought that meant they're going in the haunted house at 7 o'clock. And what it actually meant is you're going in the property at 7 o'clock, and then you're going to be in a virtual queue until we tell you to come in the haunt. So we had like crazy lines, because if I estimate, just say I can do 500 people in a half hour, and I plan that through our time tickets, then what happens if right before we open, my audio cuts out and I got to fix it. It takes me like 15 minutes. Now I'm 15 minutes back. Now I have all these people that I promised you're going to go in at 7 o'clock. Well, now I have to do all my 7 o'clock people, and I've still got my 7:30 people. Now every group of people for the night is moved back like 15 minutes.
That's fair.
And it's my fault, and there's nothing I can do to fix it, and it sucks. And that happened to us like every night, and we had giant lines because people also show up early, and we're trying to, because like at that point it was like a guideline because of like the pandemic and all that stuff. So like we were trying to regulate the amount of people on the property by not having people show up, but they were showing up anyway. So now what do I do with these people? I can't just send them home. They drove an hour or 2 hours to get here. I can't say come back in like 2 hours when your time is. I need to figure this out. So we struggled through that, and I adamantly said like I hate that. But what I found from the virtual queue was that one change of taking what was a queue line and turning it into a virtual queue line solved all my other problems, all those other issues I had, literally every one, because and improved my customer experience. Because you look at any haunted house, the best haunted houses there are, and ours was like this also. Like you said, people say waiting in lines like the best part, and like sometimes it is, but even if it was, and even if your line is very like amazing and you entertain the whole time, it's always something new, people will still say amazing haunted house. I didn't like the 3-hour wait. Now with the virtual queue, they don't even realize they're waiting 3 hours. I took the space that I was using as my queue line, this huge space, and I turned it into a scare zone. So now I have this huge themed space that is totally themed with, check this out, a bunch of photo ops. Now, instead of people just standing in a line where they're just surrounded by other people, I now have my icons out there in a space that is themed for them with my branding on it, with QR codes that take them to all of our social medias, with our hashtags, our logos, all that stuff. Now all people have to do is take pictures. I've also created a space outside in that scare zone where you get the experience of running from a chainsaw, which usually only happens one time at a haunted house, for that 3-hour wait. When you come in the scare zone, it's the only place where you can, how many rooms in a haunted house are large enough for you to run away from the person that's in it? I don't think a lot, but my scare zone is half a parking lot. You can run and run, and my actors chase you, and there's room for sliders to slide all over the place. And the guys who are on walking around as huge characters have plenty of room to run and all that stuff. We started to bring in live music. We have DJs and stuff. So now it's turned that crappy 3-hour wait is now a giant dance party going on for 3 hours with glow sticks and moving lights and taking pictures and shooting videos and all kinds of stuff. And it's immediately, just with that one change that literally cost me no money, is now increasing my online footprint and selling me more tickets. On top of that,
love it.
Now, like you said, what people aren't doing I analyzed what was happening outside. And what was happening outside was my audience would show up, they would go immediately. Once they show up on property, they want to buy a ticket. And then as soon as they buy a ticket, they know they got to wait in line. But if they take time, more people are jumping in that line. The wait is longer. So they want to jump in line right away. And then when they're done with the haunted house, instead of going and eating at my Midway where you can get an overpriced hot dog, we'll just leave and go to McDonald's or the restaurant that's right up the road. So that's why my vendors aren't making any money, because they're just heading out. But now the 2-hour wait, which I'm controlling, even if the crowd is crazy and we're running fast, I speed it up. If the crowd's not, and I want them to stay out there longer, I slow it down. They don't know how long the wait actually is because we control the whole thing.
True.
If I want them to stay out there now, instead of spending 2 hours in line and then leaving, now they've got 2 hours to do nothing but spend money on all my stuff. Go spend money on my gift shop. They go play games in my arcade. They're spending money at all my vendors, including my food booth. They're spending money and time playing escape rooms. They're playing axe throwing. They're doing our tarot cards, spending time around our campfire. We installed a giant inflatable movie screen where people can just sit and watch movies while they wait if that's what they want to do. Our other haunted houses, you're in line for all 3 haunted houses at one time.
Yeah.
We can call you to whichever one we want. So if we notice, oh no, we had something break over here, it's going to take like 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, that's fine. We speed up our queue on our other haunt, call those people over. Now they're spending 2 hours waiting in that line going through a haunted house at this one.
Yeah. So
the virtual queue has turned our haunted house into, I think there is no other way to do a haunted house than a virtual queue, because it has had 0 negative effects, like not a single negative effect that I can find at all once you implement the proper infrastructure. I mean, it was a total overhaul of the way we did it.
Sure.
But ultimately, when I broke it down, there was no reason we did it that way other than that's what everyone else did. It wasn't a solution that we came to like logically where we said like, what's the best way to bring people in our haunted house? It was just, we knew that's how roller coasters work. We know that's how every place works. You make a line, you funnel them in. But the virtual queue is my favorite thing. I think it's a unique aspect of our haunt that makes us so different, but we don't have anyone complaining about the wait. And it increased literally the profit of everything. It increased the profit of our fast passes because even the people that aren't waiting a long time, because everyone knows what's the relationship of fast passes to a line. If they don't see a long line, they're not going to buy a fast pass.
Yeah.
My customers, they see just people around, and those people could have already walked through the haunted house. You have no idea. They just see a huge crowd and they go, oh, probably a long wait, and they buy a fast pass. And in reality, the wait was 5 minutes. But great, thanks. I'll take it.
That's funny.
Here's a t-shirt, because you since you bought a fast pass anyway, you spent the extra $5 and you bought a t-shirt. So now we went from a general admission at 30 to my VIP at 50 or whatever it is. And now they're buying that. And then when they walk out, there's still 2 more haunted houses that they're waiting for anyway. They know they have time. They're going to go and eat. They're going to go and play 5 minutes of escape room and all those things. I think when you talk about making more money, there is, and this goes for any business, not just haunted houses, there's 2 ways to make more money. You either sell your product to more people or make more money off the people who use your product. So either increase attendance or increase the amount of money people are spending at your venue. And we're doing both because while they have time to spend extra money, that's all they're doing is spending extra money. And they're spending money, but they're having a great time. So now they're happy to spend money. They love it because now they've played escape rooms, and now it's went from one haunted house that they walked through, drove it. They spent more time in the car than they spent having fun at your 15-minute haunted house. So now everyone knows that, you spend half an hour in a haunted house that you waited 2 hours to go into. Now they come to my property with the scare zone, with our square, with all our games, all that stuff, actors everywhere all the time. You feel like you were there for 4 hours. You got 4 hours of a haunted house experience.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So my customer experience has went through the roof. We don't get reviews that are bad. It's just that simple anymore. There's no complaining about a wait. There's no complaining about no entertainment. There's no complaining about any of that stuff anymore. On top of that, because everyone is spending their whole time on their phone, because we're also able to like send them text messages. And now since they're constantly checking their phones anyway, and they're constantly involved in all of our stuff, it's way easier to get them to take pictures. They now have nothing to do other than roam around and use our photo ops, take videos, take pictures. And we've utilized that and set stuff up to capture those things. So it's been fantastic, 1,000%. And I think everyone should switch from time tickets to a virtual queue, because it is, like Alex said, it's the next level of that. And after 2020, our plan was like, we'll do this for like a year, but I told our whole crew, we're never going back to the old way of this giant block of people just waiting to go in the haunt. So yeah, that's where I stand on all this. And
so not to oversell, but you say, if you want, free marketing from photo shoots, increased revenue from upsells, better reviews, and a dance party, apparently.
Right.
Then you should switch to virtual queues.
Absolutely. I mean, that's kind of the real answer is, do you want a crowd or do you not? Because I guess that's the difference. If you can handle 3,000 people on your property, then do a virtual queue. And you'll have them all there at one time. You'll have 3,000 people that are chanting your name. Or do you want an easier flow through night? If you have like a light switch haunt where you just flip it on and it runs all perfect, then go with the time tickets.
Yep.
So
makes sense.
Yeah. So your customer feedback has been crazy. What kind of comments have you been getting from your customers?
So I guess that's the hardest thing about the virtual queue is, since I'm the only one doing it, at least the only one anywhere close to any of my customers, is getting them to understand it. Because they immediately come, and even though we took their phone number, we told them about it, we placed them in there, they got a text, the first thing they want to do, because they're conditioned to, is go get in a line. And then, so the first thing they do is they want to find the haunted house, and they walk in the property and they go right back to that old thing because they haven't been taught yet. So they bought a ticket, went through our photo booth, and then they immediately they go and they try to find, where's the haunted house? And they go up there and they say, hi, I'd like to get in line for this haunted house. And my lady working there says, have you gotten your text message yet? And they say, well, we want to get in line. And she says, you are in line. And she says, go have fun. And it's literally the look on their faces like, oh, and they just turn and see all the things that they can go and do, and they go have fun, and they go figure out what they want to do while they do it. Because it's such a crazy thing, because we're used to kind of, no matter where you go to the grocery store, McDonald's, the theater, anywhere, there's lines, and it's just, it sucks, but you're conditioned to do it. And now I tell you, you don't have to wait in this line at all. You don't have to have this kind of jockeying of no cutting and all this other stuff. Just go eat. If you're hungry, go eat. If you're cold, go sit at the fire. You want to watch a movie? It's right over there. That stuff's all free. You want to run around and take pictures? Go do it. And they love it. It's not necessarily that they're posting, we love the virtual queue. It's, we no longer get complaints about time. We no longer get complaints about waiting for haunted houses. You no longer have those people who are pissed off when the fast pass people are walking past them in line because they don't see them, because those people are just another group that's walking up because we have another page of fast passes that we're just calling up. So now you don't have those people that are slightly bitter that those people spent extra money and they're walking in right ahead of them. That kind of stuff just doesn't happen anymore. And I know it's like hard to kind of grasp, but it's a totally different world of haunting. And it's opened up an entirely new like level of experience for our audience. So just from the reaction and the numbers speak for themselves. When I say we weren't selling escape rooms, I'm saying like on a 5-hour night, we would like 3 people would play the escape room. And then as soon as we changed, it was the same escape room, the same location, nothing changed about it except the virtual queue. And we went from like 3 to 300. And like, that's all that changed was we gave them time to go and do it. But now they're talking about the words that we get are a whole experience, like in reviews and stuff, instead of great haunt, we get a great night out, awesome experience, different things like that say it's way more than a haunted house. I guess a lot of people are trying to create a haunted house. What I've always wanted to have was a fall haunted house festival. Yeah, and that's what this has allowed me to create, is a haunted house festival, where you have, if you watch like Trick or Treat, there's that great, like there's a shot of like a street festival happening. And I was like, that looks like the coolest thing ever. I wish my town had like a street festival. Or you just watch all these like movies where there's these Halloween festivals happening, and that's what I'm trying to create. And the virtual queue is the only thing that lets that happen. So, and now we've got again, just everything is better. Like our vendor list, we have vendors that are fighting to get into our property, and there's no spots because our vendors rebook every year because the customers are there, they're spending money. Our vendors know they'll make money. We have vendors that we went from the one property we were at before we moved to our location now that we own. We have vendors, we went from where every vendor left every year because they didn't make any money. Now we had vendors that followed us from that location to our new one in a new town because they want to keep making the money that they make at our event. And it's been fantastic. So everything, and those vendors aren't just the guys that sell hot dogs. We have vendors that sell artwork. There's a guy that makes like horror themed artwork, and he does great. His stuff is expensive. He's selling it for $200-$300 and people are coming and buying them. We have people that are they sell like wax melts and bath bombs and things. They do great. We have people that sell just like art, like crocheted stuff. They do fantastic. Last year, we expanded into, we had like a merch booth where we just sold like our t-shirts and all those things. Last year, we expanded into an actual gift shop where we sold all horror things, anything that we could find that had, any kind of horror stuff, along with our merch, along with our products from HHP, where we sell all our masks and Halloween stuff and higher end, more expensive haunted house props. And we sold out. We sold out of everything we had. It was at the end of October because like we bought like from a Trick or Treat, we bought like a stripe like from the Gremlins. It's like a life-size prop replica, and it was like a $200 prop. And we thought like, we'll have this for a few years. No one's buying this. Someone bought it the first night. And then like they let us keep it so we could still have it because we had it in like a case. So it looked nice and stuff. And then like throughout the year, people are offering us like $500, $600, even more just to buy that. And it's like, this is insane. And this is all only happening because of the virtual queue, because they have time to come and go in my gift shop instead of just leaving as soon as they're done. So the customer reaction and experience has been nothing short of incredible. And I'm like, seriously, I'm not being paid. Alex is giving me no money to say this.
We can cut this down to a commercial.
I should be, man.
Make a commercial, yeah.
It's just the best thing. And I'll never go back because it's just made the haunted house that much better. It's like the linchpin that holds up the whole operation that we have now. So
great, man.
Yeah.
So
This podcast episode sponsored by ScareIt Badges.
we always were looking for ideas to get those actors to take it to the next level. I really want to do something that they can use more than just a meal, or they can use more than just a that a boy, that a girl. They love this stuff, but it's not really promoting a haunter. And then I sit down, ScareIt Badges comes out. That's when I realized this is amazing, because not only is it giving them an attaboy, but it's also promoting them all year round. And to promote somebody, to give somebody accolades all year round and have them be able to wear it on their shoulder with pride means a lot. This right here says this is who nailed it on this day in this year for the rest of their life, for the rest of their haunting life. And that's what I really love about this product, is you're able to give haunting to somebody an attaboy 365 days a year. And that's, so hats off to you guys. I think this is a great product, and I wish you the best of luck because it's awesome.
Get your ScareIt Badges at ScareBadges.com.
On the technical side, Alex, how does a haunt go to set this up and link in virtual queue into their ticketing? How does that all work?
Yeah, well, it's pretty straightforward. Honestly, like it takes a few clicks. We've got some how-tos on it. We don't charge anything else for it. It's absolutely free with the rest of the system. I mean, listen to Justin. I feel like we should be charging more here, but no, I mean, so in the back end, if you've got an event set up, you can literally, when you're in your event management page, you can click the drop down next to your event and click virtual queues. It's right there, and then just click a new one. There are a few, options on how to configure them. So Justin uses it in a very unique and intentional way. Because he's seen the value and he's got the time. So one of the things that Justin said that I absolutely love, and I wish more people, would embrace this, is he can control the amount of time you're out there in his midway spending your money and that sort of thing. He decides when you go in. The line doesn't, it's not another environmental factor. He decides when everybody goes in. And that's amazing. Like, he's very intentional about how they use the queues, and they make it manual. They do it manually because of this. There is like an automatic way that you can have it automatically push people into the queue if you want to always keep like 10 people rolling into the attraction. But then you're not getting the advantages of what he's doing with analyzing your crew, your crowd, and making sure that they're spending money and doing all that other stuff there. And there are a few other things, like you can decide whether or not you want to let people check in on their own when they get within like a mile of the attraction, or if you want to, force them to come to your box office to check in when they get there and that sort of thing. And that just really depends on your setup in what you want to see there. There are a few other configuration things, but basically you can create a queue and it'll automatically start, going and start working. It's really simple to do. And then as far as when you're using it, you've got you can pull it up on your iPad, on your phone, on your laptop. That we let you pull it up just about anywhere, and it's going to show when people get checked in. And you can do a couple things from that screen, but the main thing is move them from the checked in column, from the waiting column, we call it, to the ready column. When you move them over to the ready column, you're saying, I'm ready for you to come into the attraction. And it'll send them a text message, and you can change the text of that text message. So it could say like, hey, come to the, entrance next to the red flag that you can see from, anywhere at the park or whatever. There's a zillion different ways you could make it so that it's really friendly to your crew. And hell, I don't care. You could put in like a sponsorship message, or you could say, this entrance sponsored by so-and-so, so there's opportunity for extra brand recognition and exposure there. But basically, it's just being able to move people, from that waiting queue to that ready queue. You can hit the check mark next to their name and they pop over there. You can also there's a button to remind people that they're up. So sometimes people, miss the first text message for whatever reason. So you can hit the reminder button. You can even send people. This was another suggestion that I think Justin and his crew had. You can send people a custom message too. So if you want to click, message them and send them, hey, like, Bill, you've been waiting for 15 minutes now. Get your butt over here, or we're giving up your space. Like, you could send them, that message if you really wanted there. There's some custom features in there too. Or you could send them something that says like, hey, while you're waiting, maybe check out the mini escape room we have. Don't worry, it only takes 5 minutes, so you'll have plenty of time to get in. So there's some cool functionality around that too. But real easy to set up. And of course, on that side, I'd be amiss if I didn't say this. Like, we have people in the office, including myself, as Justin mentioned, until, well after midnight every, haunt day, every day during the haunt season there. So give us a ring. We'll help you set it up. We'd prefer to do it before the haunt season, but we'll do it during the haunt season too. It's just less of a rush on our side if you try to set that stuff up in advance.
Yeah, 'cause before we got on here, you were telling me how many hours you work in October. I think you work more than I did in October, so.
Too many, man, too many. It's just like it's just like when I was actually haunting, right? Like all the pressure's on you during that time. Now instead of one attraction that I have to take care of, I have 1,000 that I get to take care of. But in all seriousness, like most of our attractions never call us throughout the night. It's just a volume thing, we're doing hundreds of thousands of ticket sales a night, millions of dollars of ticket sales a night that time of year. And if like 1% of those fat fingers their email address and has to write us in because they're like, I think I put in the wrong email address and I never got my tickets or whatever. That's still, hundreds of people or thousands in some cases of people, even if it's just 1% of them. So yeah, we get a lot of messages that time of the year, and it could range from like, hey, I didn't get my tickets to, I know you say, you people have to be over 10 to come to the haunt, but I've got a really brave 6-year-old. We get that one a lot, stuff like that. There's just a zillion different messages you get, and people that want to, transfer to another day and change their tickets. So one of the things we added last year was the ability to let, if you've got this enabled as a haunt and you are doing some sort of time ticketing or making them choose at least the day that they're coming, now you can actually let the customer pick the new date and time. If they want to reschedule their tickets, they're able to reschedule their tickets. You can put parameters to around it. So they have to do it 24 hours in advance or something. That was one that we added last year after a bunch of people kept saying, man, I wish, we didn't have to do this manually, or you didn't, and we have a lot of support people that'd be doing that for folks too, if they let us. So that was another one that we got from feedback from our clients that just saves people a lot of time at the end of the day. Yeah.
That was our biggest thing when selling online tickets was, hey, I bought this for Friday. Can I move it to Saturday?
Yep.
So he did go in there manually do it, and I get it. That's smart.
Yeah.
Listen to your customers.
There you go. I mean, ultimately, they're the ones who are paying for this stuff or covering the bills there, and that's so we want to make their lives easier. So just like when Justin and Stefan over there came to us with the virtual queues, like we said, yeah, like this is something we've seen before. We've looked into a bit. They're coming to us about it. Like, let's do it. Let's get this done. Let's, if this is going to help them, it's going to help other people during the pandemic. My surprise was that it just took off after the pandemic, kept growing. I think last year was the biggest year by far. Actually, that was the biggest year by double that we'd seen on the queues. We had something like 200 different attractions that were using virtual queues in some way or another. Just crazy last year. And yeah, a lot of others that are using time ticketing. Totally agree with Justin. In a lot of cases, it does not make sense to do both. Like, rarely makes sense actually to do both. You kind of want to do time ticketing if you're like one of those that's just a straight flow through and you don't have a midway. Like, it's just, that's okay to have time ticketing if it's just like one attraction or one ticket and you just straight flow through and no other, options to buy anything else. But if you want to keep people there and keep them hanging out and keep them spending money and keep them doing all sorts of different things, I love virtual queues. I think it's going to rule the world here. And it does come with a lot less stress on your side, man. Like, you don't have to worry about, people rescheduling, right? Like, you don't have to worry about people, saying I didn't get in that, exact time window that you said I was going to get in if something went wrong. Like, there's just so many benefits there to the user experience on both sides. Yeah.
It's almost like you flipped it around, because instead of being out of control, you're more in control. Like you were turning your queue line up and down, and you can determine who's spending money, how long they're spending money.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I can see both uses of both types.
Yeah.
So it
also helps us out a lot with I kind of said this earlier, but like customer service. So when you've got the lady in your queue that's like, we've been waiting 3 hours, what's taking so long? But like, you can't just put her in the haunted house, but with the virtual queue, you can just make that lady happy. No one knows if it's her turn or not because there's no line. And she walks up all mad, just click her name and send her in. What's it matter? it's one person, one group of 5 people, you'll be okay. And the other people are out there having fun anyway. So let them take their time, and let this lady who wants to rush, let her rush, and she'll be all right too. So now
true.
you've got everyone happy.
Yeah, even like you said, the fast passes, they think they're still getting happy. They're still happy because they're no matter how much they spent, they're still going through. Maybe they don't want to hang around outside, so they're just paying you money anyway that you're gonna let them in anyway. So like,
love it.
Here's an extra $20. All right. Oh man, that was awesome. We got through fast, and
Exactly.
it seems like everybody's happy.
Exactly. Happy customers are really good for your business, it tends. So
And I here in Missouri, Hannibal, Missouri, Haunted Hollows, they implemented a queue line. It wasn't a digital. It was all they had was an LED board.
It works
with ticket numbers, and then that number on the ticket correlated with the number on the board. Now customers had to stay attentive of the board. They just kind of watch it tick, 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 tick. But I was standing there with one of the owners and just listening to the customer feedback all night.
Yeah.
It was like they would get up to the line, and then he would say, "No, you go wait over there. Get your marshmallows, your cappuccino, axe throwing, whatever you want to do." They're like, "What? I don't have to wait in this line?"
Yep.
Oh my God! Everybody was like, "Ah!" And then they went over there and had fun. So it was just I was listening to them all night, just all the good feedback that was going on.
Absolutely.
But I can see how the digital would be better because your phone's right there. You don't have to pay attention to anything.
Sure.
It's your phone's on you, or maybe I don't know if a system of both would work, but I don't know how.
Yeah, we actually did add a feature because we've run in contact with a few different attractions that they're in dead areas. They actually have internet to their service that they can use, right? Like they've got their own hardwired internet and Wi-Fi, but they're in one of those areas that there is literally no cell service, and so their customers can't get an email, they can't get an SMS. One of the things that we built out, I believe this was the year before last, so 21, we added this, is the ability to hide, so you can get the queue view, so you can actually see what the queue is, and you can hide names because some people don't want their names exposed, yada, yada, yada. So it ends up looking like the airport signs, right? So it's got 3 letters or something from your last name and a first initial, right? So it's you, but nobody else knows this is John Smith, or something like that, right? So you can actually put that up on a big screen if you want, so people can see if they're in the ready queue or if they're if they're in the waiting or they're in the ready queue, which means come on into the attraction there. So we do have a little bit of a hybrid on that, if you want to use it.
Yeah. Kind of like at Domino's, you go pick up your order. It's like, all right.
There you go. Yeah.
So Justin, you've talked a lot about your customers in the queue. How do your actors like the changes?
Oh, my actors love it because it serves your actors. Acting in a scare zone is way better than acting in a queue. I have turned, like I said, my actors, what do your actors like outside? Okay. They like scaring people. They like ending up on social media. They like taking pictures and seeing those on social media. They like seeing their videos go viral on TikTok and Facebook and all these other things. They like being able to fluctuate how they act. They like having space to act. And we did it for a long time where we acted in a block of people, and it turns into, let me start in the front of this line and let me interact with every group as I walk down this line. Even if you're walking back and forth, it's let me do, and eventually you've seen every group and you come back in 30 minutes and those groups have only moved 20 feet and you've only got a few extra groups that showed up. But now I can do one thing over here where we've got the scare zone and we've got the mausoleums and they're walking through a graveyard. It looks like a haunted house in there with lights that move and projection effects and all this other stuff that makes it fantastic. And I've created a world for those actors to live in. But then the actors can then also go and mess with groups while they're watching a movie. They can mess with groups while they're hanging out around a campfire. They can mess with groups while they're playing axe throwing or archery range or the head toss, all that outside. They have areas to literally chase the audience around, which, like I said, doesn't happen a lot of haunted houses. And my actors love it. They absolutely love it. It also allows us to have So I won't say we don't have any queue. We have very small, like one line spaces for after they check into the virtual queue. But that's just so we can control those few groups that we've called as they walk inside. But while they're in that space, we can go mess with them too. It's fantastic. It gives my actors more freedom to do whatever they want because they have room instead of the room being taken up by these people. And when your audience is happy, scares happen too. Angry customers don't get scared. They breaks the illusion of this is just fake. This is a guy in a mask. I'm not afraid of him. He's a jerk. To when they're having fun and they're happy, the scares just happen. And then like with chasing people, when you have this huge space to chase, when you chase a group through the midway and you've got 5 girls running full speed away from you, not only did you give them a chasing experience, but everyone else is laughing their asses off seeing these girls run away from you and screaming their heads off and seeing what is that guy doing. And that's a high. I mean, you don't get to interact with that many people ever in a haunted house, and you're getting to interact with our whole audience, whether they walked through or not. And now we have people that come back multiple times and they know you and they come and they want to take pictures again and they want you on their Instagram and their Snapchat and all that stuff. They come back because those queue actors are so important. I've made it where all my queue actors play 2 to 3 characters every night. So they'll change. Nice. And for an hour, they might be walking on a pair of stilts. For an hour, they might be a slider, or they might just change it up. Like for an hour, they're a clown, then they're a witch, and will totally change their whole costume, all that stuff. Again, so the audience is seeing something fresh all the time. It's not the same guys that have the same props, the same lines, and all that stuff. So my actors love it. So yeah.
Do they have to work their way up to be a queue line actor? Or is it like seem like everybody wanting to be outside at the party, you know? So
right. It's I'd say yes, they do have to work their way up. They have to be. It's. I mean, we just started holding my scare zone actor classes because I always act in the scare zone. One, because I'm always around doing other things, also actor coaching, all that stuff. So I'm not tied down to a scene, and if I'm not out there, the show's not over. But one of my scare zone actors that we had promoted up there last year asked me after watching me like control a crowd, and I bring out a lot of glow sticks. I love throwing glow sticks out because the crowd goes crazy over it. And I'll make them we have like a stage out there that's elevated, and I'll stand on that with glow sticks and I'll make people like dance because we have loud music and we have like a bunch of DJ lights. So there's lights out there that are like moving and creating movement and fog. And we put like laser swamps outside. So outside is really cool. We have like flame cannons out there. It's like a rock show, but I'm out there and like the crowd's going crazy. They're cheering, they're dancing. I'm making them dance. People are recording everything. And there's probably 200-300 people all in this big dance group that I'm like controlling. And then I'm not thinking about it. That's just something I do. And then after the actor asked me like, how do you do that? And like, I was like, I don't know. You're asking me to break down like 15 years of haunting outside, plus like my whole life of entertaining on a stage and all that stuff. So I just started creating classes on how to act outside. And in general, I require them to have a skill. I have enough, like you need to have a reason to be outside. All my people that aren't like sliding or walking on the stilts or acting in like a giant costume, stuff like that introduces like a wow factor. They're like management. So they have a job role that they also need to not be tied down to some space, but they're acting every night too. So apart from that, it's not so much that you have to earn it. Yes, you have to be a good actor because you're out there with all these people. There's nowhere to hide. But you also have to be able to do more because everyone wants to act outside. And if you can't act in the house and you don't have some time of doing that, then I don't need you to go outside because everyone wants to act outside until they realize how hard it is. Then they don't want to act outside anymore. So yeah,
it's good to have. That's what I always tell my queue because I have a bunch of new ones that want to go out and act in the queue.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, you just sit here and watch the adult actors first. And then they
Yeah.
realized how much interaction there is,
Mhm.
how much you got to have someone that can do improv and can be responsible and can be not caught somewhere in the corner slacking somewhere.
Yeah.
You got to be at it 100% all
Yep.
the time.
Yep.
You got to be your character every
Exactly.
second.
Yeah. I called it, you have to always be the smartest guy in the room, because when you've got 200 people watching you, you can't let someone make a joke at your expense. You
Yep.
can't be the one that's getting laughed at. You have to be the one that's leading the laugh. Otherwise, now you're not scary anymore.
Right. Got to keep that illusion.
So,
Well, this is if you don't have HauntPay by now, you should have HauntPay, right? So this is, if not HauntPay, we're talking about virtual queues, online ticketing, time ticketing. If not HauntPay, find you a good ticketing company and go with them. But of course, I do recommend Alex because Justin just sold me. So but Alex has been around a long time, and I know that customer service is hard to find. So that's when you have a problem with your system and Halloween night, Alex is going to be on the other end and say, hey, what's up? What can I do? How can I fix it? So that means a lot. I mean, that's money wasted if not. So Alex, tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, it definitely hauntpay.com. That's a really easy place to get a hold of us. You can find, you can start for free, try to create some fake test events, test things out there. But, accounts are always free to sign up for there. But feel free to get a hold of me directly too. My name is Alex Linebrink, and you can reach me at alex@hauntpay.com. I'm also, HauntPay is on Twitter. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, all the social media. It's just my full name or HauntPay, either one, you can get a hold of us. So yeah, alex@hauntpay.com. Would love to hear from you, and we'd love to see if we can help anybody out there, reach more Haunt fans and sell more tickets this year. Yeah.
You have any trade shows coming up, or is I know Transworld's a big one for you?
Yeah, Transworld is definitely the big guy, but Midwest is still coming up. So we'll be at Midwest Haunters Convention in June. I believe that is first or second weekend in June. I can't remember exactly what it is, but over in Chicago area. I imagine I might get to see Justin and his crew over there, or at least one or two of them. Yeah.
Justin, where can they find your haunt and your other companies?
So you can find us at Haunted Hills, hauntedattractions.com, hauntedhillsproductions.com, hauntpages.com. You can find me on Facebook, Justin Hill. You can email us, Haunters Hangout, whatever you want. We're on all that stuff. So we're always available. Haunters Toolbox. Here you go.
Yeah. Good plug. Good plug. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate your time. Sounds like a virtual queue would be a way to go for me. I know the Dead Factory, my brother Scott is thinking about he's working on stuff at the moment, outdoor buildings and games and concessions. Oh, cool. So I think this might be the year that they might do that.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Start a party.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun to watch it.
It's a good slogan.
See what happens. Yeah.
Virtual queue, start a party.
Yeah. Sounds like it'd be nice to come check out your show sometime too. That's sounds like a good time.
I'll be ready.
Yeah. I might be scared. You might scare me. All right. Well, good evening, gentlemen. And we will, this will be a podcast as well. And anytime you guys want to get on and want to talk, let me know.
Keller. Thank you, Brian.
All right. Have a good evening, fellas.
Good night.
You night. Too. Take care, guys.
Later. I just want to pause for a moment and thank Philip from the Haunted Attraction Network. If you guys listen to this podcast, you'll love everything that Philip is doing over at the Haunted Attraction Network. That's hauntedattractionnetwork.com. There's weekly podcasts. Philip also does the seasonal entertainment source magazine that is free to subscribe to. Yes, it is a real magazine to your mailbox. Him and Scott Swinson also do Green Tagged. But if you're subscribed to the Haunted Attraction Network feed, then you will get it in your podcast player. So go on, check out everything the Haunted Attraction Network has to offer. And make sure to sign up for their email newsletter at hauntedattractionnetwork.com/newsletter.
This podcast episode sponsored by ScareIt Badges. Get your ScareIt Badges at ScareBadges.com. Also sponsored by Haunters Toolbox. Take your haunt to the next level at HauntersToolbox.com. ScareIt.com. Thank you for listening to Haunt Topic Radio. Please leave a comment wherever you found this podcast. Each comment you leave will help spread the word to other haunters around the world. See you next time.